They did,
We've
but
had-
it's been a while.
We've had
We've had
specific problems with the planning commission over the years of not wanting to say these are the top 3 or 4.
Right.
Now, that doesn't restrict the city council. If you know some of these candidates, and let's say there's 8 candidates and they recommend 3, and you know someone of the 8 that's very well, you think is very qualified, and they don't recommend them, it doesn't mean you can't interview them.
We've always said.
You always have that prerogative, but my understanding was that the city council wanted the full.
E470 to come in and make the presentation to the city council at the meeting of the 12th, and they can talk about phase 4 and kind of the whole day.
Meaning of the 12th or the 19th?
Yeah, on the 12th, that's incorrect. It should be, it's a presentation, it's a council presentation.
We had asked them to come on the 5th, and we're trying to move some things around, actually to present some material to you we think would be helpful for the events. And so we needed to move them out to the 12th and move someone else, move another topic in on the 5th. But we would like to get the E470 discussion, right, let Ed and his staff make a presentation to you, the one that basically the mayor and I saw, the commissioner and the mayor, just what is the code enforcement. Not what we'd like for it to be, not what we imagine that it is. But based on the staffing and the task that we know, or we can project that's out there, and the amount of work they do, what kind of product are we budgeting for? What is truly the level of service? And we're going to instructed the staff to make this a very frank presentation, not a presentation where they try to pick out parts of the program that might coincide with certain issues any one of you might have spoken.
You'll find probably more of that at the Fall Fest than you will at Thornton Fest.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
More so than maybe.
All right.
Betty's here.
Better
If,
place.
uh,
Have a family. Isn't that something that's?
Yeah.
That's correct.
How can
because-
you do this if you have 3 small children, for example? That would not be appropriate.
Any questions?
Have these candidates that we're interviewing, have they had background checks on them yet?
They don't need background checks.
They don't need anything like that? No criminal background checks or anything to be on a commission or board? Okay.
They have
Because
been,
they're essentially advisory.
they're advisory, then they do not have legal responsibility. We still hope. And you have, and your applications.
With regard to the questions, these are just suggested questions. These are not required questions. If you'd like to use them, these are the ones that the council's used in the past.
Yeah.
If you like to use them,
What do you
fine. If
missing,
you would
Jeff?
like
I
to,
didn't take 3 copies.
Take just a minute and tell us something about yourself and why you want to serve. And
I've worked in Thornton, I've been active in Thornton, and as you can probably see from my application, I am a volunteer victim advocate with the Thornton Northland Police Department. And I just feel that all citizens should be involved in their community. And if we want to make changes, first of all, I try to get the facts.
questions. Dennis?
What specific challenge?
Situation is quite well.
Thank you.
Let's expand that, Becky, since as we said, we probably, I think you'd appreciate if we did do 3 interviews. Expertise do you think you have in that area?
Well, I have helped assembly and nursing homes. I have been in peer reviews with hospitals and nursing homes to see how we could best do a job, cost effective, and yet be able to expand services.
Other questions by council?
If I'm not answering them well enough, let me know.
We'll,
Because it's usually in the meeting, in the evenings.
yes, all of them really. Same would be true of the planning commission, Betty, so I'm assuming your comment would be the same thing.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Gary?
That this particular board or commission would be faced with.
And let's hit liquor board first, Betty, and then do planning commission.
Underage drinking. our teenage drinkers that we have. And
You mentioned the parks and the playgrounds. In your mind, is that one thing or two?
that's two separate things.
Other questions?
You see as the relationship between this board, and it would actually, this could be an answer to the planning commission or the liquor authority. What do you see as the relationship between this board and the city?
That for reviews, the board does the review, the input, the research, some of it, and then presents it to the city council for you to make a decision.
And actually, I guess that's true of the planning commission.
In fact, I was going to ask the question, does the board actually go into establishments that hold a liquor license and,
No,
okay.
not general.
That's
I mean, they
Victim
can,
advocate police side, I think, asking these
they can
questions.
do so, but not as part of that particular
Okay.
job. Also, as Councilmember Herbert mentioned, the difference is that the liquor board went to county court, not to city council.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the attorneys.
And if you went through all 3 interviews, I'm amazed that you weren't able to keep all of those things straight. We have trouble keeping.
I forgot my
them
notes.
straight. Any other questions by council? Betty, are there any questions you want to?
For, in a person, to be on the board, the liquor board. Someone obviously who hasn't been arrested, who doesn't have an alcohol, problem, in water. Someone who hasn't been in jail. Am I answering my own question?
Basically, Betty, what we're looking for is someone who can look at the facts of the issue impartially, interviewing for tonight. And then for the other 2 boards, if there are differences in your answer, depending upon which of the 3 boards you decide to. Okay, would you take just a minute to remind council who you are, why you're interested, and particularly in the liquor licensing authority, what you think you would bring to that board or commission?
Again, my name is Randall Smith. I live in Ward 4. Things that I interviewed with, I think were my weak points as far as zoning and planning with the city, and I think I could learn a great deal with that.
Calendar consisting of 2 items. What's the pleasure? Any member of council wish to pull either of those 2 items for individual consideration? Seeing no request, chair would entertain a motion to approve the 2 items on the consent calendar. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk will poll the council. There are no public hearings. We will move to item 9, city council comments and invitations, starting with item 9A, the Denver Regional Council of Governments. And I'd like to thank Mr. Lopez for representing me at the last Denver Regional Council of Governments meeting. And Mr. Lopez, did you wish to make a report on that?
I shall attempt. Now, I'm not following Margaret, I want you to understand that. And that was Bill Vidal. And he will be taking his position in April the 15th of transportation. He was the executive director there from 1994 to 1998. That program, there's 2 programs, the 1999 and the year 2004 Transportation Improvement Program, which is TIP, and also the 1999-2001 Transportation Equity Act for 21. And they amended to increase the funds for transit and air quality and transportation alternative projects. Board member from the Regional Transportation District. And they also included a representative from Buckley Air National Guard. The board did review the Metro Vision 2020 presentation, which was very important to coordinate traffic signal improvements. And it's interesting to listen to the statistics by improving the lights, because it reduces the air pollution, of course, and the fuel consumption. Something out of 185 signals, the emission was reduced by 10,500 pounds. And it reduced what they expected is something like 3,400 gallons of gas, and probably a reduction of about 8,800 hours.
I also know that there were several members of staff, including Mr. Etheridge, who attended the banquet, which was a very nice retirement presentation for Executive Director Farley, 29 years of service. That worked very well. It was a very nice evening and very well done. Since Councilman Truitt is absent, we will not get a report of regional and public council tonight, as council is probably from Northland. My question, and I think the city manager addressed it somewhat in his message to council on Friday, is we're not really sure what this means, particularly in terms of funding, since I know we're actively involved. So it will be interesting to see what the governor's plans for the reduced RAC are. Item 9C, the Metro Wastewater Reclamation District Report, Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Your Honor. There was a meeting of Board of Directors as we just purchased a road grader, or approved the funding to purchase a road grader, which is replacing one that's been in service for something like 30 years, which I thought was good use of equipment.
And item 9F, council comments. We'll start with Councilmember.
Certainly like to thank staff again. Not all of staff is here tonight, but I would certainly like to thank them again for their presentation or performance and participation in the Ward 1 meeting. We had an interesting Ward 1 meeting. We had one business representative from the North Valley Bank. We had the council member, Martin, which attended our council meeting. We had Jan's husband attend the meeting. He's anchorman for Channel 4. And it was nice to see him there because he actually saw the grassroots of government. I guess the other thing I would like to say is happy Easter, and I'll leave it at that. And maybe Councilmember Walker has something to follow up on that. Thank you.
This past week, and had the opportunity, could have watched 24 hours of coverage of the first transportation of transuranic waste from Los Alamos to the whip site. I didn't stay up to watch it.
It took them almost as long as it did to build Thornton, where you get to build the rec center.
But there were protesters along the way, but there certainly are many people who are really delighted to have that happening at this point in time. And so I'm frankly very into Volunteer Youth Day. They've requested $300 and indicate that 100% of the students live in Thornton and Northland. I would suggest that we fund them at the $300 and we move for that.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that council from its contingency. Any further discussion on that request and on that motion? Mr. Walker?
We have that much money available in our budget?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Any further questions? Clerk, call the council.
Council cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
That's all.
Councilmember Thorne?
Colorado. In 1998, we had a very successful and well-received summer conference in Colorado. Due to the quality of last year's conference, we have seen a growth in membership that we hope will continue. There were more people who attended the conference here in Colorado than at any other time in the history of the organization. And this newfound solidarity is needed if we are to meet the many challenges that lay ahead. The FAA is scheduled for reauthorization this year, and the app can build more strength in the organization. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
And I would like to thank Councilmember Thorne for her service on that committee, and she was very active in setting up the summer conference. A lot of that conference certainly need to be given to Councilmember Thorne. Councilmember Thorne, we did have another request for funding. Were you going to entertain that, or?
I can, if I can find it. Do you have the
I
copy?
have it right here. Contingency fund, contribute $300 to the Decker program at Thornton High School for their conference in Orlando, Florida. Mr. Walker.
For the record, what does DECA stand for?
Distributed education.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what the rest of the letters stand for. Does anyone else remember? It has to do with distributive education, and
Yeah.
really is students in business.
Yes.
Okay.
And they have specific sections in their contests, Mr. Walker. Some of it's salesmanship,
Sales, right.
some of it's media promotion.
I remember the program, I just,
Vote council on the motion.
Council Casarones. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Wisniewski.
I just want to remind everybody it's back on.
Thornton's going to look in the next few years at Ward 4. And staff did a great job in providing me with some maps that I provided to those citizens. They were very happy with that. So thank you. I share in that with them, staff's help.
Councilmember Walker.
thank you, Your Honor. Several little quick things. Don't know how many citizens are here, but our guided pickup begins next Monday the 5th, and they're going to start from the north this time and work down. Last time we sat with junk in our streets for like 2 weeks while we waited for them to work their way up.
Large items.
Large
not
items.
junk. Just large items.
It looked like junk to me.
One knows.
Um,
Has large items.
That's right.
Yeah,
See how well each one would work. And they're going to do that next month at a similar meeting. And hopefully Gene will have charts. I will not be attending the meeting because then I'd miss the Metro meeting again. Their community, see how the community at large feels about them. And then it will probably be coming to us if there's any action required by council. The way that I left it was council didn't need to do anything. It would all been within the existing traffic codes and
So I would imagine, because it's already been announced in the community, that moving it at this time would not be possible. But I would certainly hope that each council member and anyone else, and perhaps the newspaper, if they would work with Mr. Elliott on the large trash pickup, would indeed emphasize the fact that it should not be put out before Monday morning, particularly with the Easter weekend.
next thing I had, I will not be at the.
Our hearts bleed radically.
But if you miss me, that's where I'll be.
Is this partially in response to your work on Y2K?
Actually, no, it's not. That's what I thought at first. But come to find out, I was nominated for this by the Chief Information Officer of U.S. West himself for my work with the science fair.
Congratulations.
So
That's
it was a
wonderful.
surprise to me, and that made me feel
Good.
better, not only by
Yeah.
who nominated me, but for what it was
But by
for.
why, yeah.
Because I think that's something significant.
Service outside. Congratulations again.
I don't think that's a bad penny at all. I missed the source while it wasn't being produced, and I'm glad it's back. Thank you, Mr. Jack. Or it wasn't the source, the journal.
Journal.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the journal. And then I wanted to mention youth in government quickly. We had some better times with the youth in government this year and some worse times. Are we going to have a review of that sometime?
Yes,
this
we
year?
are working on that right now.
Okay, but I was happy to see all the students here, and in another way, I'm happy to see them gone now. But interesting program. Sure. While the Christians are celebrating Easter, let's not forget any of our Jewish citizens who would be celebrating Passover, not only the normal Sabbath-type Passover, but this is the big Passover for the whole year. And I think it starts on April 1st and ends on the 8th. Another interesting holiday. The history goes way back.
I have 2 or 3 items, Council. First of all, a formality that we need to take care of. I do have a letter of resignation from Ms. Gallegos from the Career Service Board due to her appointment to her new office. So at this time, I would request a motion from Council accepting with regret. But I'm not sure regret's the right word because of the reason. So we like accepting the resignation of Ms. Gallegos from the Career Service Board.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Motion passed
Oh,
unanimously.
excuse me. Look at that.
Would you like to change it,
Yes,
Mr.
slip
Walker?
of the finger here.
The motion passed unanimously, except for thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a couple of letters, Council, that I would like to read into the record. First, all of the staff regarding the facilities and the staff. According to him, facilities are first class. I, once again, this year had a letter from the TLC preschool complimenting Officer Matt Barnes on his presentation of between 70 and 80 preschoolers. And each year, they are extremely proud and pleased of Matt's work, and I know we are too. I have another letter which I received from a group member. It's very difficult to respond to citizen concerns and complaints when you don't know who to respond to. And most of the letters I think that we get have answers, and there are things that we can say and do. And it is extremely frustrating to me, and I think it is the rest of the